children's emotion. What are we seeing among our kids today? How emotionally protected or emotionally secure are them?
It's not ideal to have children to have access to devices. The moment you spend time on screen, it means that you are having less time in the real world.
Are we overprotective or we have to be overprotective?
When we were young, parents sometimes will say that you suck it up or you handle it on your own. Like, okay, emotional important, you just problem solve, right? This is how we were being taught. We adults have the responsibility to create a safe environment for them.
Medical field ni
pancreatic cancer
Bersama saya Dr. Roland Victor.
satu benda yang one of the worst stress can happen bila you makan tak sedap.
Doktor, saya punya culture kena makan nasi.
Zaman moden.
That every second of your life you either earn or learn.
Lesungbatu Medic Show. Okay, everyone, welcome to another episode of Lesungbatu Medic Show with me, Dr. Roland. Today is going to be English content, and the topic is going to be children's emotion. What are we seeing among our kids today? How emotionally protected or emotionally secure are them with this challenging world and times? And I'm so glad to have Yap Hui Ling from Thrive Well. Yep, thank you for coming to Lesungbatu Medic Show today.
Thanks for the invitation.
Before we get the question rolling on, just a bit of yourself on what was your background and your upbringing, education, and getting towards this segment of mental state supporting.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Roland.
Okay.
My name is Hui Ling. I'm a registered and licensed counsellor under LKM Lembaga Counselling Malaysia, and I'm also a therapeutic play practitioner, so whereby I provide play therapy for young children as well. So I've been practicing more than 8 years now, supporting children, adolescents, young adults as well, in terms of the struggles that they have. Yeah. So when we work with children, I don't normally just see children, but I also talk to a lot of parents too, in terms of, what are their struggles and concerns in terms of supporting, raising, or even like discipline with the children too. Yeah. So these are mainly part of the job that I do on a daily basis.
I see. And your center is in Bandar Utama. Thrive Well is in Bandar Utama. Okay. So emotional struggle among children today. We see kids today having a lot of emotional crisis with a very challenging and demanding world. We want them to grow very fast because they need to be ready with the world, whether it's going to be as fast as they start walking, they start reading, they start counting and all. And are we really blind for not letting them to grow naturally?
I think what you say is come from a very anxious emotions that you're talking about, right? Because we have more informations now, compared to 20-30 years ago, where information is not as easily accessed to. So parents nowadays can easily just Google, like, oh, is there anything wrong about my child, right? Is my child growing up accordingly, the right way, growing into what I want my children to be like when they become adult. Anything is just Google, right? Or ChatGPT now even, just to see what informations they get. But however, they come from very anxious based kind of emotions. And sometimes we put this on our children too, because when we're anxious, we are worried about them, and subtly, through daily interactions, how we talk or our expectations on them, we'll send that message to them too. Because in general, when we compare the current culture society right now compared to 20-30 years ago, we are in a very fast-paced environment. Like, so many things can change or happen in a short period of time.
Exactly.
Compared to 20 years ago when we were children, they're more slow paced, a bit more relaxed. We don't need to rush things and all that. So these are the combinations, things that happen that we show how come we see that children nowadays are more stressful compared to when I think back to my childhood, I don't feel as stressed as they are right now. How come it's like that, right? So then it's because of the big environment. How is it like? Because we adults are stressful too, right? In current society where everything's so fast, changing so fast, I need to pick up, and higher expectations as well.
So you're right. So Meaning to say, like today with the very globalized world, as what we would compare as when we were young, it was just like our own taman.
Yes,
And,
you're very right. So like in our time, my world is my taman or my kampong, you know. But now for children, my world is literally the whole world because I can so easily access to so many things. For children also, like if they have
YouTube
a gadget, even with YouTube is also a way that, you know, I can see so many things from all around the world, all sorts of informations. Then how do I, you know, take in all these informations? How do I filter or analyze and all this, which they are not equipped yet, like adults. Because adults, we know how to filter informations, we know how to analyze what's good for me, what's not good, you know. But for children, they are not there yet in terms of their cognitive development.
So that shows like some form of like resilience, whether they have or not, whether they can accept it. But at the other side also, we see that this technology, the social media is like sort of like collapsing the world on them. That means like what they start seeing, but maybe we're looking at an infant stage is maybe very forgivable on what they see. But then there's also an issue where it's becoming addictive of what they're seeing. But when they mature into a bit more towards a child age of 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, understanding sort of like what I define like a world order. How does the world operate? What are the rules I have to comply to be accepted, respected, and also allowed to live in the micro home or school or kindergarten and everything? There is some form of discipline and expectation that is coming in.
I see. Because like you mentioned, there are multiple layers, right? When we say for children, the core definitely would be the family, right? Immediate family members like my parents, my siblings or my grandparents or relatives. And then we gradually expand to that. However, as you mentioned, if the whole world come too quickly, they feel like floating, like, where's my core? There's too many things. So a lot of research has shown that it's not ideal to have children to have access to devices or to screen time too early, not just because of the information as well, but it actually reduces a lot of real time or real life interaction. Because the moment you spend time on screen, it means that you are having less time in the real world, like, really interacting with people and all that. But that's what we want our kids to be in, the real world first, before they move forward to the digital world, which is even more complex. Because real world we can control. It's either home or kindergarten or school or my uncle auntie's house, right? So that's what we want to focus on for children. We don't want to overwhelm them too early age. And also because of real world is where they can build resilience, not in the digital world yet. Because it's too many uncontrollable factors in the digital world. But real world is something that I still can help my children to, go through that process. So a real world example would be when I have a fight with my classmates in the kindergarten or in primary school. This is real world like struggles or stress. We call it a stress, right? Then it's something that we can talk about. And then how, we can support emotionally. We can talk to them like, okay, how do you want to, repair this friendship with your friends? Then we can have more conversation. Compared to, for example, a conflict that happens in digital world. People just ghost you or you couldn't reach to them anymore. Exactly. And then it's just left hanging there, And then like, oh, what do I do with these emotions or what do I do next? Because there is no action that I can do from there. Especially for young children because they don't know how to handle that yet. Adults, maybe we know how to process, right? We know how to move forward.
I think even adults start doing that.
Yeah, but children, we don't want to immediately let them handle such complex interpersonal situations. We focus on the basic first because we need to strengthen their basic first in the real world. before they are ready to move forward.
But this thing that I sort of like see, I mean, and sometimes unfortunately also experience that with my own children is the pacifying them. Sometimes like a lot of parents today, most of them, mother and father, they have job commitments and they are out. And when they send their kids to a nursery and stuff, the devices are going to come. They will be placed on a screen to watch some form of nursery rhymes. Let's just say 10 minutes or half an hour, or sometimes who's watching 1 hour. They go on and a repetitive, impulsive watching. Sometimes they perpetually with technology today, you just like, rewind, watch again. I mean, like back in our days, let's just say you miss an episode of cartoon on TV, that's it, you missed it. You will never get to watch this unless you go to school and ask your friends like, hey, what happened to that episode?
Yes.
Agreed? So and we were like, fine, we missed it. We were forgiving ourselves like we missed it. But today, no, if they're not satisfied watching that same episode, they perpetually can watch it.
Hours and hours
repeatedly. It's almost like an extreme addiction. But there's also this segment when you have the parents coming back fatigued, tired and everything, like you said, like not to have that kind of digital access. Sit down and read a nursery rhyme book, and if you have a toddler, it's not like they can actually sit on one book. You'll probably be like juggling in 5 books in 5 pages.
And that's okay.
That is
actually.
okay. That's okay. Like maybe like for me, I understand the situation. But for a person maybe who is like a hard labor dad, they're very stressed after work, they're back late, they just need to they need the decompression.
Understand.
And that's where they say, I never just take my phone, just leave me alone.
Yeah. To address these issues, right? Because I hear a lot of similar, comments or concerns or struggles that parents bring up. Like, after a long day of work, I'm just so exhausted, right? Where can I find the time or energy even, to spend time with my children? But still, device is not the solution. Yeah. I think it's okay to set some routines and some boundaries with young children. They are very good with understanding boundaries and routine. Like, okay, when everyone come back, everyone have your own time to, decompose or rest or do your own thing. And that's okay to do your own thing. Everyone have your personal time, right? Even for young kids, it's just with supervision. Maybe they are there, just sitting there playing. But not necessarily with device. There are so many other activities like Lego, puzzle, just flipping their books. Even though they are not reading, but they are just flipping is okay, Or even doing nothing is okay. I find, because like last time when we were young as a children, we have a lot of unstructured time, a lot of free time.
Exactly.
And what we do with the free time is that's actually where the creativity come out. We come up with a lot of random things that we do that may not necessarily have a meaning or purpose of doing it, It's just at the moment, this is something that my brain pops up. Like, okay, it feels fun to do. It feels okay to kill the time that I have right now. Then I go ahead and do it. We don't necessarily always need a lot of attention from our parents. So parents sometimes forget that it's okay to give unstructured free time for children, because that's also what they need, and that's where they go through that uneasiness. Because when you got nothing to do, right, it feel a little empty, like no activity, no homework, or like no screen time. Then I left with, okay, then what, right? What do I do now? And actually, this is what children needs: that space and the emptiness for them to really go into themselves and think about okay, what I like to do or what I want to do, and let them just fill up whatever activities that they want to do.
Emptiness of activities.
Yes, actually it's okay. We have a lot of the emptiness when we were young. Our parents were not occupied or worried with okay, I need to make sure my children's time are all filled up with something, some activity or enrichment class or hobby class, actually it's okay to give them space.
Unfortunately today, like city dwellers are trying to fill up their kids' time, like, after school, piano, after that come back, taekwondo, after that you have this and that. So like they perpetually go to multiple different kinds of schools.
Yes,
I see it that way. So like perpetually their time is full. Or they will come and say like, I'm bored, now you have to take me somewhere.
Yes, you're at the right point where even though it's like a hobby or an activity or enrichment, but it's still a very class-based or learning-based structure. It's not what we call free play, where actually children's more free play like base kind of activities more than structure, because this is where they are allowed to explore. This is where they are allowed to take risk. This is where they are allowed to make mistake. And that's where they can learn and build resilience from there.
True.
Because when you're structured, it's like a script that you need to go through already. Like even with piano lesson, I just go in, I learn piano skill, I learn with my fingers, how I twist and turn with my fingers, how the music come out. It's very skill-based learning. It's not emotional regulations like learning, that the opportunity that the children have. So all this come from free base play.
Okay.
Yeah, where they have more opportunities from there. So that's how when we compare children nowadays compared to us when we were younger, this is a very big difference, where we have a lot of empty time, free time, free play.
Self-taught. It's sort of like a self-taught without any thought.
Yeah, anything, right? We just have anything and then we just go with it, right? Whereas kids nowadays, they don't have that space. They don't have that time to allow them to have this opportunity to do so.
I reflect that a lot. Just looking at a simple thing like going back to the days when I was young, like playing football. There's no class. There's no training, there's no coach. It's just like a bunch of guys cycling around, calling all our friends each other like, hey, come out and play. Who's got the ball? We go and take their ball at home. And we go to the field and just arrange a couple of sleepers and play with barefoot.
Yes.
But then comes another generation like that today, where I don't think my children at that same age can do the same thing because of fear of... It's now comes like a parent, like, am I being overprotective of my kids? That we are worried about them crossing the road. We are worried about kidnap. We're worried about this, where they cannot be out of our sight. Like that. We have to make sure like there's some guardian there, because now it's like, now you're going to this football training lesson.
Yes.
And then like it's what you said, like that is like, you got to run 5 rounds. You got to do the skittle and everything, and then like playing like when we were there, like just like we we picked our team.
Yes.
And that's where like we fight, we argue, we will irritate each other, we will do the wrong tackle and then argue about there was the right tackle to be done. But kids today wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe in certain remote areas, maybe kampong and everything, no problem. But in urban settings,
it's hard.
There is being parents now. Are we overprotective, or we have to be overprotective?
I think we need to find a balance. I think the key thing is we need to let go a little. As in, so for example, if it's within my community or my taman, because usually there's a park right there, then if I know my kid just need to cross a road to play there, is that okay? Actually, it is okay. Or do I have
Easier
to always
said
be there?
than done.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like when I really have to do it, that's a whole different story.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And that really reflects, right? Because it also, when we are functioning from this anxiety-based or fear-based like thinking, then we are taking away a lot of the children's opportunities for them to have all these interactions, the play, and the opportunities for them to build resilience. Because, just change your perspective a little. I'm a 10-year-old, like, I think I can just cross the road and go to the padang and play, right? Then why don't you let me do that? Because, 10, back then we think 10 memang is okay, right? It's just crossing one road and then play at the small
you will
padang.
cycle the whole taman.
Or cycling.
But
then from the
today
child...
with people who are breaking the traffic light and lot of things will go on. Like the thing that I popped in my head is like, maybe like what you said, we need to allow that free time, but there's some form of minimum guardians to just supervision like from far and say like they are all safe. Because like maybe parents should like, okay, you know what, this week I'm going to go to the field, but let all the boys go there. We're not going to make sure that they're going for a coaching session. They are like allowed to play badminton on their own. We just provide the racket, the net, you play.
Yeah. So that's another way to go. Is, of course, I don't feel comfortable as a parent to just close my eyes and then let you do whatever, right? Or cross the road and all that. It's okay to have some supervision from parents. So, for example, I bring them to the place. And in the taman or in the field, I can move myself away, giving them the space and time to do whatever. So it's like, if there is a conflict happen, sometimes children will come straight to you. You know, he did this to me. You know, he kicked me, or like he don't let me to get, kick the ball, or he doesn't pass to me. So children have a tendency, because you are adults, right, come to you.
And then,
this is the problem.
If you are the parent that they say, oh, my father is here, this is my chance.
So it's like, okay, I want to tell my dad about this. So this is the time what we want to do as a parent is we don't step in yet. We let them sort it out. We let them resolve this conflict on their own. We don't step in immediately. We give them the space. Because if we all constantly step in their mind is, the way to solve this problem is to find my dad or to find my mom. But not the way to solve this problem actually is, I can talk to him, we can negotiate, we can take turns, I can, see how we want to solve this. But right now, the only thing is only one solution. Find my dad solve the solution. But that's not what we want. We want the children to come up with their own way, how I want to, resolve this conflict or disagreement with my friends. This is something we want to embed in children. So that, because eventually when they grow up to primary, secondary school or college, we want them to, handle all this interpersonal relationship and conflicts, managing all this.
And that goes to, I think, something that we're looking into, the EQ, the emotional EQ of how you resolve, like again, like today, like anything, even in school, a bit of the teacher scold a bit or just raise their voice a bit, they can be broken. They feel like emotionally, I don't want to go to school, kind of thing, or what I define as manjalitis lah.
Kids nowadays are more vocal, if you realize, compared to our generation, because we allowed them to be vocal. Because like our generations, we were not allowed. We were not allowed to be vocal. So when we grow up, we want our kids to be able to express, because we didn't get that chance when we were children. So moving, how the society moves is we encourage that. So that's why kids are more vocal. So we can't blame them for being more vocal, because we allowed them to, and we want them to also. It's a good sign. And what parents struggle is, but I don't know how to manage or how to handle when my kids are vocal now. I want them to, because I want to hear their thoughts. They still have that good intention, because I didn't get that chance. I know it's good that I can hear, what they really think and how they really feel, what their experience are like. We still want that. We are not pushing that away. The struggle is more towards, but when my kids put all this on the table, I don't know what to do. And for us, this is more Asian culture lah, like when we were young, parents sometimes will say like, you suck it up or you handle it on your own. Like, okay, emotional important, you just problem solve, right? This is how we were being taught when we were a child. And we might have a tendency to do that to our children too, but that doesn't really work, because your kids literally bring, their distress to you at that moment. And when you brush it off, it's just how we experienced when we were kids too. Like, okay, does it mean that my experience is not important, or is it my emotion is not valid? So the struggle is, how do we coach them, or how do we respond to them when they bring emotional distress to us?
I see. So and how much is a lot, or how much is too little?
How much? Because when we talk about
then there comes this issue of, are they being over bullied in school, or their circle is just a bunch of bullies, or they are also they also another bully around the thing, like they just take turns to attack each other.
Yeah. I think it really depends on the situations, right? It's like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
But for children in general, even secondary students, we still consider them minors because they're not adults yet. Is that we adults have the responsibility to create a safe environment for them, right? For example, in school, right? So we should create an environment where we don't encourage bullying, for example, which is very common nowadays. So when kids come to you and say something about, okay, the environment doesn't feel safe, or certain incidents, interactions that feels not safe, that's where adults need to step in and say and see like, okay, what's going on, right? Because the child is not safe in this environment, or the student is not safe in this environment. Exactly. Then we need to investigate and see what's going on. And then adults need to decide what to do. Okay, how we can send a stern message to everyone in school, like, this is not acceptable. Or a more serious incidents or case where, is there a further actions needs to be done, things like that. So that's where we definitely need to step in. Of course, at the moment, we also want to take this opportunity to build resilience for children, right? It's okay, this is a distress moment. This is a very difficult, challenging situation. What can we do about it? Because I think it's we need to differentiate whether this is a like normal kind of stress that children encounter when they grow up, or this is we call abnormal, means like it's not under normal stress when children grow up. So abnormal stress would be like domestic violence or abuse. That is not a stress we want children to endure in or build resilience in, right? Because the key thing is still we want to have a safe and trusting environment for children for growing up. Yeah.
And some children who actually come from those situations find it even more challenging because they see things like this happening at home. And then sometimes they might reflect it outside.
Yes,
with their peers,
correct.
Their kids.
So
their
they
friends.
are going through distress that not a typical children would go through or should go through. Yes, correct. So that definitely, of course, same thing. We still want to build resilience for them too, but of course, it's a lot more challenging because the distress is so significantly, higher.
Understand. So we thrive well as in your range of practice. You guys are doing a lot of outreach with through a couple of agencies and schools. So what are you all doing, and what are you all doing currently?
What we are doing currently, we tackle quite a few different communities, I would say. So one is we do community work, community development work, where we go into PPR or B40 communities that we provide mental health services. So we don't just do one-to-one counseling like a private center, but we do more community work, as in we want to build that community up so that they can support themselves, among themselves within the community. So for example, we would have what we call duta. Duta is where the community, that women in the community, like mothers and all that, they come. We train them. So the facing emotional distress, like what to do. So, for example, what we train the duta is for them to notice signs of distress
among kids,
among the kids or among the community itself. Whereas, I hear this is what you're going through, because they don't naturally come to us, the professions.
Yeah.
But they go to the communities, kakak, the communities.
Who they can relate to lah.
Yes, correct. They can relate better. So we train the dutas, the kakak we call. Yeah. So then they will talk to people in the community, and that's where they will notice, because they are trained with the signs and all that.
Okay.
They'll notice, I can see that you're going through some struggles right now, or your children are going through some struggles right now. Then they become the bridge and lead to us.
Okay.
Like, I think you need more help. Maybe you can talk to the counselor, or maybe you can talk to the clinical psychologist, where the mental health profession comes in.
I see.
Yeah, so that's how we build. Or if there is a distress moment happen in the community, they can be the frontliner in that sense, to immediately give the support, emotional support to the community, to the children as well.
And when such events happen, there's like on your side, it means they come on site, or they will come and visit your center.
I think both depends. Yes, some of them, they will come to our center, but sometimes we also go into the community to provide the counseling services there as well.
So and what kind of scenarios you all are seeing most commonly now? You're seeing this maybe among certain B40 and PPR community, but I'm pretty sure that you all are seeing the same situations with M40, T20 as well.
I would say, so one part...
Are they selective? And you can see like certain patterns here, certain patterns in middle income, certain patterns in more affluent families. Are the expectations almost similar, or very different scenarios you all are seeing?
I would say different socioeconomic status. They have different kind of struggles. I will put it that way. So it's you can see. In terms of resources, maybe can be quite different itself, right? Because higher income family, they have more resources compared to
expectation also sometimes can be very high.
So they depends on the knowledge that they have also, right? The education levels and all that. So they would have different expectation, yes. So the support, we still provide the same support based on their backgrounds and all that.
How ready are communities? Let's just say from a very broad spectrum today. Everybody knows, like, in terms of the kids' attention, device, gadget, spending time, quality time among family, small pocket communities among the neighborhood, or larger activities like in school and stuff, right? How aware are communities ready towards, mental health, big thing, child's emotional well-being, big thing at the moment, like they are coming forward, like, if they have some activities, like in a PPR event, like the kids show up, parents make sure they come in to get them attention, or like, no need, so don't disturb us, like that.
When we talk about going into community, any kind of community, not just PPR, it can be school or anywhere, a lot of outreach needs to do.
Still a lot of work.
Still a lot of psychoeducation still need to be done. It's still a positive thing, because the awareness, we can see that it's increasing, especially after pandemic also. So it's a good sign. A lot of people are more aware. However, the accurate understanding of mental health or mental health support, I don't think is there yet.
So what more needs to be done?
What more needs to be done? One is to further do more outreach and psychoeducation, number one. Number two is, even though they have some idea of mental health, or like some idea of like, I'm not doing well, or I'm not feeling well, or my kids are not doing well, they can see that the next barriers or obstacles that we are noticing, they don't know where to go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, but who do I go to actually? Do I go to clinic? Do I go to a hospital? I don't know who are the people to go to. And that's quite a common questions that I get when people comes to me, like, I have this trouble, or concerns or issues, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know which profession to go to. And it can be quite complicated sometimes.
Exactly. So how do people reach your organization? From the NGO activities that you all do, the community activities that you do, as well as catering to personal
to the
specific public
Yes.
like the business services that you all
Yes.
provide.
So we do a lot of outreach events. So when people invite us or we see some opportunities, to go out, we set a booth.
Okay.
Or we do an event we have an event and then we go there, we set a booth and then we talk to people. That's how we do outreach and do educations. And sometimes we don't do, it's not counseling.
Okay.
It's not like counseling sessions. It's just like, you have a question about mental health, you have inquiry, or you just want to ask for your family members or your friends, then, you can just take a 5-10 minutes to have a chat. So basically it's a chat, right? So we have an event called, sometimes we do it from time to time. We have an event called Can We Talk?
Can we talk?
Yeah, you just come here, we do some fun activities like cupcake decorations, do some basic consultation, we say. Any question you have, it's not even counseling. Because sometimes when people come for consultation, they don't need counseling.
Understand.
Actually, yeah.
And where do we people get to know this? Do you have like a social media? Do you have your own podcast, or do you have like a lot of like awareness tools via digital for people to access?
Yes, so for Tri4, we have Facebook page, we have LinkedIn, we have TikTok, we have Instagram also, whereby we will post on some of the activities that we do with the community and also upcoming events. So for example, the Can We Talk event, I think we will have it in a couple of months. We will have one. Yeah, so then you can follow us on our Facebook page.
So your page is?
TriFWOW. So when you
TriFWOW.
when you type TriFWOW, it will comes up, and then you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, where we will post the event.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And before we wrap up, any last message out to the public?
Okay. I think one key takeaway for today is, because when we talk about children and resilience, the first thing pop up is our children nowadays too weak? I think that's one of the common comments that people have. So the thing is, they are not weak. It's just they are in a more difficult environment compared to where we were when we were younger that time. We have more protective factors, like the free play, we have time for ourselves. It's not too pressured, less overwhelming compared to children nowadays. So they are not weak. It's just they are in a more challenging environment, and how we can support them from there.
Great. That's a great message. That means they are all strong kids.
Yes, children are very resilient actually.
So thank you so much, Yap Hui Ling, for coming over to Lesungbatu Medic Show today to share what you do, to share your journey. And I hope this message can reach out to parents who are seeking help emotionally, or they are also seeking guidance what they could do for their parents. A place you can go and search for more information is TriFWOW. We will put the link below, so you can go and access. You can search and see the community outreach, the good work and deed that they do for young kids and also adults. So once again, don't forget to like and subscribe to Lesungbatu Medic Show via YouTube, TikTok, Facebook and also Instagram. Until we meet next time, kita lesung kau.